everyone, David Mario Smith. It's funny, the intro music to the show always reminds me of the Martin Lawrence theme song, like Martin Lawrence. Anyway, so that's just me. I was a Martin Lawrence fan. Martin show. So guys, welcome to today's episode. It's been a fun these past few episodes I've been doing for the Crunch. The Crunch has been an interesting series of episodes. All my different rotating co-hosts has been super fun. So today we're going to talk about what's been happening this past year and conferences, especially this recent spring conference season. A lot of different conferences, a lot of key themes, common themes that we're hearing. And for today's episode, I have the wonderful pleasure of introducing my guest for today, the amazing Craig Durr of the new firm, the Collab Collective. Welcome, Craig.
How are you doing? How's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm great. Now, Craig, where are you in the world, if you don't mind disclosing your location? I don't know if it's secret or
That's
anything.
okay. I am the digital nomad this summertime right now. I'm actually in Utah.
Yeah.
We're up in Park City, taking a little bit of
Ah.
R&R, but you never really stop with R&R. It's just clearing the head so I can do some more writing and some more content videos as well. But
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go. You're
that's where I am
funny.
right now. But normally
There you
based
go.
out of Austin, Texas.
That's right. So funny, speaking of R&R, I just came back from Turks and Caicos with the family, and I had the
Oh,
dubious distinction, now born in Jamaica, the West Indies, I got sunburned. My melanin card got revoked. I'm like, how in the world does this happen, right? So I'm home there, I'm like, I'm peeling in the back of my neck, like, what is happening to me, right? My family's laughing at me like, Dad, you got weak, Dad. Like, what's going on? But
oh, you've
it's
been busy
crazy.
though, 'cause you also just recently took your family to London and Paris for the first time too, right?
Yeah,
That
so
wasn't that far in the past.
yes, I think we may be in similar boats. I have a daughter graduating senior from high school, entering college next year. So we're doing all the milestone trips that we can fit in, before she's out of our hair for college. So it's. I remember you were doing college tours as well
We're,
too this year.
we're going to commiserate on that. I'm actually sending twins, two off to college this next year.
Ooh,
Um, one's
twins.
going to San Diego State University, one's going to University of Arizona, and
Oh wow.
we're going to really test their ability to stay in touch with their parents. Okay, we're going to see how family enterprise, family communication and collaboration works over multiple states now. That's what we're going to
Yeah,
see.
yeah. Oh yeah. So funny twins though. That's a high task. I'm thinking. I can't remember my college experience. That first semester, I was coming home a lot. Laundry, all that stuff. I was missing folks. But after that first semester, it was like, you know,
You're
see
gone.
it.
I'm
I'm
done.
gone. Oh man.
I'm
So
done.
Craig, yeah. So we've had a busy conference season this year. A spring conference. It's funny coming off the pandemic of a few years ago. We began, especially around 2020, 2023 or so, we began to see those in-person conferences tick up. This year was absolutely on steroids. How was
Oh
your
my
conference
gosh.
season this
Tell me
year?
about that. Oh,
Right?
tell me
Yeah.
about it. And it's funny because, a lot of times things start quieting in July and August, and we're right on the
Mm-hmm.
cusp of it starting again come September and October. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I was busy. And you and I were trying just to sync calendars. I was looking back. We can go to April, and I can talk to you about four different events that I went to just within
Yeah.
April and May, and even more if we include June, which are some big events that we both talked about.
Absolutely. And it's funny 'cause I can't remember. My year actually started off officially. I think it was Enterprise Connect was my sort of first event, right? And that show was interesting because usually Enterprise Connect is kind of more so on vendors, some partners in the channel. But I saw an interesting amount of end users at this year's show
Really?
that was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Well, if you want to go back to the theme for me for the Enterprise Connect, now this is back in March, and this is in Orlando, if the audience is not familiar with it. There actually was a lot of emphasis on contact center. Enterprise Connect
Yes.
traditionally has its history in the broader topic of enterprise communications.
Mm-hmm.
Previously it was known as part of the No Jitter conference, and they changed the name to update it accordingly.
Yes.
But there was a
Yes.
lot of front and center focus on contact center. In fact, I was fortunate that I did an executive interview with the team from Salesforce. They
Mm-hmm.
were talking about their partnership with Amazon.com. I'm sorry,
Oh, cool.
AWS.
Yeah.
And just updating some of their offering with some new features going on market. And I have to tell you, I actually like the contact center. It's going to be a theme we're going to talk about here later on because I think that subsegment of the industry is on the leading edge of
Yeah.
practical AI implementations as we start talking about that.
Yeah. So, well, let's go there because I saw that as well too. And so, some of the key vendors, that we cover, and, we'll talk to some of your more recent stuff with Infocom and so forth. But one of the big things I saw, you right, going back to the early spring, was a lot of the AI announcements while they, were on, regular, meeting summaries and so forth. A lot of the practical AI stuff that I saw came about in the contact center space. So whether we're talking about, Cisco, Zoom, Ring Central, 8 by and so forth, a lot
Yeah,
of some of
yeah.
the big AI announcements was really relegated to, okay, how do you help agents in the contact center space, and how do you also help customers within that same space as well? So it was like that sort of agent to customer workflow was pretty big in terms of AI announcements.
So I wrote an article around this point in time, and the premise of the article around AI was we were at the part where it was going from promise to proof. I always have to
Mm-hmm.
have some fancy tag word, double P's there, whatever it was.
You
But we
gotta
were
be
going
pithy.
from promise to proof at that point in time, and that was the point. Is that some of those contact center elements were taking advantage of it, and we're talking about going beyond just the generative AI suggested talking points.
Mm-hmm.
Contact center is really interesting. It is one of those subsegments that it is okay for the technology to measure the sentiment of the customer. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay for them to measure, is this guy frustrated? Is this person having a good call? Are they lost? Are they confused? You can't do that in one of my core areas, which is video conferencing. It's kind of people,
Yeah.
it's a little bit of privacy concern right now, although we're getting
Yeah.
better at it. So
Yeah.
by pull in that context of sentiment. How is that person feeling? You
Mm-hmm.
saw some of you mentioned some great names there. Have some solutions. Zoom was talking about their contact center, their AI companion. Like I
Mm-hmm.
said, I worked with Salesforce. Are able to pull in some great information to help that agent real time. And not only are they
Yeah.
able to measure the customer, they're also measuring the agent. WebEx,
Yeah.
Cisco is measurement in there that allows the agent to kind of measure, am I having a good call or not? And then they worked with Ariana Huff, and they have that relaxation moment where it says, if you're having a hard time, let's go over here
Yeah.
and go to uh, the recharge
Yeah.
application, and you can regain your control of the situation.
Yeah, she's a sleep guru. Indeed.
Yes, she is. She is. She actually, she would just participated in something for Cisco called Cisco Spaces, and I enjoyed listening to her speaking. It was an online presentation we
Yeah.
had. It's nice.
It's so funny going back to the contact center stuff. You're right, and the other also almost underlying theme too is all the major sort of UCAS collaborations, communications vendors are now having moving towards this unified platform, right? Of UCAS, contact center, right? Which then becomes this overall broader digital workplace stuff, where it's chat enabled, right? Persistent chat, all
Yeah.
this other stuff. Some are even adding back email, a la Zoom, right? It's like, well, okay, let's bring email back to the fore, right? But again, overall digital workplace platform, like what Zoho's doing, right? Microsoft with all their productivity apps, Google with Workspace and so forth, and
And
then
there's
within the guise of that sort of overall digital workplace stuff is how this sort of like housing their AI becoming the sort of theme, this the seam between this whole digital workplace platform.
totally agree. Hey, you actually hit a really interesting thing. I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this because what we were just talking about there is this. There's a lot of these UCAS vendors that
Mm-hmm.
are leveraging their underlying technology to create contact center solutions. And
Mm-hmm.
you and I, knowing the nuts and bolts, what's underneath the covers, we can appreciate that. The challenge is it's different use cases. How
Yeah.
you and I might communicate at work over video is different than how someone might communicate to a customer in a needs. But they're doing it, and some people are having
Yeah.
great success in doing it. And it's kind of how they're expanding their market. Um, Interestingly, in the last month, back in June, NICE, who is hardcore contact center, announced
Mm-hmm.
the launch of a UCAS solution. So here is a contact center solution mimicking
Yeah.
these UCAS vendor strategy of expanding their market There's
Yeah.
underlying tech. There was a video that I have on LinkedIn right now about that that's coming up. But the 1CX is what it's called. And
Yes. Yes.
I know we're going to talk about AI, but what I'm getting to is what you mentioned is that people are saying, okay, the technology I can leverage across these different use cases, but the proof is going to be, can I serve it well? Do I really know what a call center scenario is versus an
Yeah.
enterprise communications?
That's right, and everyone's starting from where they've started from, right? So you mentioned nice, right? Again, yeah. So CCAS moving to UCAS, right? The Zoom, right? UCAS collab moving to the CCAS, right? Unifying the platform. You mentioned Salesforce earlier, right? CRM.
Yeah.
Whoa, what's the heart of CRM, right? The customer, right? What's the heart of the customer? That interaction with the enterprise, the company, right? The agent. So we're saying everyone's sort of adding adjacencies to fill out their overall portfolio. That's right, yeah.
It is. And this is one of the strategies been talked about for a while. One of the events we went to was called Zoom Perspectives, and this is a Zoom analyst event. Took place, I think, in May.
Yeah.
Zoom is one of those interesting companies that I swear I'm going to bring this all back to a common theme. Don't worry about it. Just bear with me, okay? Um, I love Zoom as a company. They've got great people, great products, but as they were public on Wall Street and they had this spike in growth over the pandemic, they've been challenged growing. They're still a healthy company. They've been still adding growth, like 18 quarters in a row, some phenomenal number like that. But they're
Yeah.
becoming more and more accountable to a Wall Street element of, are you going to continue to grow? Their strategy, expansion into contact center and calling.
Yeah.
But that goes back to, I think you see that's what a lot's taking place is that people post pandemic companies are trying to find those opportunities to continue to leverage investments they made in their technology to adjacent areas, and
Yes.
it's not going to stop.
Yes, and I think the key too with people like Zoom, Cisco, Ring Central, right, and Microsoft, Google, is that I think those vendors who were core, UCAS collaboration communications, they own the conversation
Yeah,
piece. I think that's why I think they're pivotal. They realize, okay, if we own the conversation, our people are interacting, we can put that. So obviously now contact center, right? CRM scenarios. That's the same conversation, right? Because every business process is a conversation. So whether that's sales, marketing, if we own the conversation piece, then we can add all these adjacencies in all these different processes. So I think a part of all the announcements from all the events was realize, okay, we need to expand because since we own the conversation part of it, right? Let's
yeah,
expand to other
exactly.
areas. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with taking place. So it's been interesting to go back to the question about the last few months. I think what we're seeing is this: is the market is hitting some headwinds. I'm not going to say negative, but we've got some macro events taking place. We've got at the turn of the year, Europe officially entered into a recession. You still have elections taking place in France and in the UK. We've got ours upcoming here in the US in November. Um, Interest rates are still high. So a lot of macro headwinds taking place in the market, but these companies are
Yeah.
still trying to figure out their opportunities to grow. And I think they're leveraging
Absolutely.
their. It's really interesting to sit back and watch this because there's some people I think that are doing it well. There's
Yeah.
some that me too. I'm also adding this service because I'm told it's what I should do. Um, yeah, like in the device space, there's a lot of Me Too's around video bars. I know that we don't dive too deep into some of the hardware. I'm a product geek myself, but there's a lot
Yeah.
of people launch video bars, and it's a kind of a Me Too. I'm trying to expand my market opportunity, and the question comes back to: do they really know the customer use cases and the customer needs?
That's good. And so funny. Actually, speaking of that, you went to some awesome video conferencing, real video conferencing guy shows. What were some of
Yeah.
those? Right? Yeah.
Well, let me share with the audience my background if they're not familiar with
Yeah.
what I've done. So I actually did work on the product side of the vendor equation here for a long time. Before being an analyst, I've been an analyst for about 5 years, and we just launched the Collab Collective here this summer. Prior to that, I managed a product management team for Poly or Polycom at the time for 9 years almost. That was their group video products. And before that, I worked for Dell. And before that, I worked for Microsoft in its Exchange service as well, too. So I've always been the product guy and
Yeah.
had this inclination towards video. Infocom just took place in Las Vegas, largest North America pro AV show. I don't think you could throw a nickel without hitting a new video bar that was out there in that show.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting idea. So not only were there a lot of low cost, Asia Pacific vendors bringing some in as well,
Hmm.
but there's people that you wouldn't expect playing that far into people that were core audio companies, for example,
Yeah.
Sennheiser, EPOS, things like that, that are looking at like, hey, we've already got some understanding about core technology of audio, and we're
Yeah.
trying to get some understanding of group dynamics. We should also be participating in this space. So a lot of people are putting
Interesting.
out, um, and I think there's there's a lot of common components in there, and
Hmm.
where people really have the opportunity to differentiate in the software, and that's what I would advise people to look at is what are they doing in terms of their video AI, their audio AI.
Hmm.
What are the partners they have certified with? Microsoft, Zoom, Google
Hmm.
Meet, things like that. That really helps define their success in the market.
Yeah, it's for so long, and I'm a video conferencing compared to you, a novice, but I've covered conferencing for years, but and so I have an audio background, being in music and so forth, right?
Yeah.
And I've always sort of thought that for so long, right? Video people would suffer bad video before they would suffer bad audio, right? And now we're seeing this sort of emerging of the two. Like, no, you need to have both really good right now, right? Is that the going thing? Yeah.
I think so. But there's a really interesting thing. So one of my good friends, Chris Netto, he works for a company called Sarn, and he's really popular with a group that's called AV in the AM. It's a
Mm-hmm.
Twitter group that he manages as well.
Mm-hmm.
We were talking about this. This Infocom audio had a lot of spotlight. I was really surprised and very happy about it. So to your point,
Yeah.
we can still meet if the video goes down as long as you can hear
Mm-hmm.
me. It might not be
Yeah.
as productive, but we can continue our meeting. So it was always like audio's core,
Yeah.
video, is what have you. Video became more important, and people since they couldn't really understand and measure audio, good enough audio seemed to be okay in video conferencing, as long as I
Yeah.
wasn't dropping, losing it, what have you. But what's taking place, especially with the change in office environments, open offices, people working from home, things like that,
Mm-hmm.
audio is getting a lot more attention because it's becoming a lot more critical to having an uninterrupted workflow. And
Yeah.
we saw a lot of great innovations, I think, at the event. Not only in
Yeah.
terms of the software, but the technology too. Sure, is a company that I love. They have what's called MXW Next Two. It's a long name,
Mm-hmm.
but basically, it's their standard SM. What is their microphone? Is it the
Oh,
SM?
sure. Sure. Yeah. The SM7B. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, that's like the iconic microphone that I
Yeah.
think
I'm
Roger
using that right
Daltrey
now. I'm using it
swung
right now.
around, and yeah. Well, there you go. You and Roger Daltrey are doing it
Yeah.
right now. Okay, but they had it now, so it works with a USB connected base. It may not seem like a big win for someone like yourself as an audiophile, but for
Yeah.
someone who's UC based, that means I can plug that into my Microsoft Teams room. And now when
Yeah.
I'm in a
Yeah.
multi-purpose room where I want to move around, I've got the highest quality, market accepted. Dave Mario Smith is blessed this microphone. I can walk around the room and use it. And so it's really great to see these audio
Yeah.
companies also still finding opportunities to innovate.
Yeah, and also Michael Jackson, I believe, as the story goes. It was good enough for MJ, I mean.
I'm going to stay with the DS. If it's good enough for DS, I'm going to stay with DS. Okay.
No, but that's a great thing. Though. So you're seeing now at these, sort of Infocom, which is this a granddaddy show, right? It's just a huge show, right? So you're seeing the Sennheiser. So people, from my early background with music, but when I hear people like Sennheiser and Shure, and I'm like, whoa! So audio is huge. And then the other big thing from what I'm hearing is now is how do you then now begin to integrate these AI capabilities, right,
Yes.
within the audio and the video.
Yeah. So it's a great thing. There was two panels I had a chance to lead at Infocom. One of them we can talk about if you want later on. It's about multi-camera use cases. The other one, though,
Sure.
was about AI in the office space, AI in the
Mm.
meeting space. And we had a great panel. We had a VP from Microsoft, we had a VP from Zoom, we had a VP from WebEx up there. We had somebody from QSys helping to talk about the integrated environment as well too. And one of the big questions that came up was, should AI be located on the edge in the device, or should AI be located in the cloud with the service providers, Zoom and Microsoft and WebEx?
Mm-hmm.
And I was prepared for fisticuffs. I was prepared for people to start, and the answer was both. Is kind of what it
Yeah.
came down to. And I think it's not a bad thing because it gives the end buyer, that IT professional, options. They may
Yeah.
have the dumb cameras in the room right now because that's what they've bought, and they still have to, amortize those for the next 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But Zoom has some capability about that AI, the what's called IntelliFrame, the ability to actually reframe people accordingly within a group environment to bring
Yeah.
some more intelligence into the meeting experience and make it more seamless and remove friction.
Yes.
Ultimately, somebody may upgrade and then get a different camera that has built-in AI, like the Logitech Rally Bar is a great one that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Um, then you start to have things that's a little bit more responsive for what's taking place in the environment in the room. So AI is everywhere. It's
Mm-hmm.
if I only had the trademark on those two letters, I'd be in time. Um,
so, so
but
AI
it
is in
was
the
great.
room. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great debate taking place here. Again, going from promise to proof was what was the theme that was taking place there.
Yes. So AI is in the room. It's in the device. It's on the edge. It's in the cloud. But to your point, it's just how do you then begin to leverage it, right? In the different interactions that people are involved in, whether it's from your video
Right.
bar, your conference room, and so with that, Craig, I'm wondering too. The big debate has been hardware versus software. We're seeing now where even hardware vendors are focusing on software. What are you seeing in that space?
That's right. I mean, you were right. It is the opportunity for people to differentiate. I was kind of leaning in on something. There's a lot of components within some of these hardware elements that are common. Don't get me wrong. There's companies like Crestron, like Shure. That are investing in proprietary audio elements, video elements. But there's a lot of people that are leveraging common vendors and things like that too. But
Yeah.
the opportunity is how you work on that software, that firmware to differentiate it. Is it responsive? How is it managed?
Mm-hmm.
How does it interact with other environments as well too? That's
Yeah.
that's a big. Here's a geek moment. I'm gonna go down a rabbit hole. Pull me out. Now.
Yeah.
Microsoft started a program. The acronym is called MDEP, Microsoft Developers Environment Program, Ecosystem Environment. In essence, in the video bar space, it is Microsoft providing an Android-based operating system for these video bars.
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft traditionally has been Windows-based or PC-based room experiences. There's a lot of Android ones coming up, and they decided to launch their version of Android as well too. Now, the
Yeah.
reason they're doing that is to account for what they saw were some holes in Android. They can now tie it into a Microsoft security story. They can now tie it
Mm-hmm.
into a Microsoft management story. And they have a better quality of assurance on devices before they certify them going forward.
Yeah.
So the question comes up, okay, well, if everyone has the same Android operating system, how can you differentiate? How can you make one bar than better? And software is the answer. Software is what we're looking at. Like, who has the better audio processing on that bar? Who
Mm-hmm.
has the better video processing on that bar?
Yeah.
Who has other elements added in, content sharing, wireless content sharing, things like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
out of the rabbit hole now. You're right. Software, one of those environments, one of those differentiators that seems promising.
Yeah. Software runs the world, maybe, kind of, along with hardware.
It's eating the world. Software is eating the world. Now AI is
Yeah.
eating the world.
That's
So,
awesome. Yeah. So, Craig, tell us a bit about the Collab Collective. What are you
oh,
doing, man?
I
What are you
love it.
doing?
Thank you for asking. So, the Collab Collective is an industry analyst firm. Your
Mm-hmm.
audience probably knows what we do, but I tell people I do this. I help people drive better decisions and reach
Mm-hmm.
more people. I'm fortunate, just like yourself, we sit in between the vendors and those IT professionals. and we get to
Mhm.
see a lot of information that neither do. We get to see other vendor reports. We get to collect data. We get to interview IT professionals, get a more view. So we have that fortunate opportunity to have that 360 view of what's taking place in the market.
Yeah,
So the Collab Collective is a new analyst firm, and it's focused on workplace collaboration and enterprise communication. It's how you and I met. So there's some of these common topics. So you can
absolutely.
think to get to some technology. Not only does it include video conferencing or audio conferencing, but we're also covering employee experience and
Hmm.
customer experience. So contact center and CRM and what have you.
Yeah,
All those goes back to what we talked about earlier. There's a lot of underlying technology, but it's those use cases, and helping people address those use cases uniquely and successfully is the story. So the Collab Collective does syndicated research. We do custom research for people as well within the vendors, and then we also help with validating market messages going out.
hmm,
I read some ebooks, some articles. I've been fortunate to be a keynote presenter with some other conferences and what have you. Again, helping to
yeah,
educate people. So
yeah.
that's
Awesome.
yeah,
It's
and
awesome, man.
I'm taking that fresh young approach. I mean, the audience might know this that you and I had a chance that we sat back and we did a video at Zoho last
Yeah,
year in McAllen. And I think that just explained what I think took place. I think yourself, myself, when people have a inquisitive, almost childlike curiosity of what's going on, it helps people
yeah,
break down these. We don't need to be ivory tower and tell people what's going on. So the
exactly.
approach of being curious, of being excited about the technology, about being open to new ideas, I think really helps people get a good view of what's going on.
Absolutely, and I tell you, I've watched Craig's videos, on LinkedIn and so forth, and he is that. He's pretty excited with every video, like it's his first one, and he's really into his guests and so forth. So great. I mean, with what you do, the Collab Collective, what do you see? What are the trends you're seeing upcoming in the
Oh,
next conference season, or the fall conference season, I should
that's
say?
great. So we are coming up on a big season, right? September, October. There's some great
Yes.
conferences coming up, and then we go into some larger ones as well. So in the world of individual vendors, there's things like WebEx One coming up. There's
Mm-hmm.
Zoomtopia coming up. There is Five9 in the contact center space has their own event coming up as well too. And
Yeah.
then right past the first of the year is ISC, which is in Europe in Barcelona, and this is the world's largest pro AV show, and it's one that I near and dear to me. I really enjoy that environment. Well, I think
Awesome.
this is. I'll try and break it up into threes. I'm going to do this on the fly. Let's see if I can do it smoothly. I think we're still dealing with AI, but I
Yeah.
still think going is from the promise to proof. Contact
Mm.
center has been away with some very practical use cases.
Yeah.
Um, it's going to really continue as we get more into these other spaces. The second thing I expect to see, though, too, I expect to see I expect to see it's going to get interesting within the unified communication space. Microsoft
Mm.
Teams has such a large presence right now,
Yeah.
but a lot of people coming out with great features. Keep your eyes out on people like Google Meet and what they're doing. Keep your eyes out on Zoom and what have you.
Mm.
And then the last
Absolutely.
one, I told you there's a lot going on in this hardware spaces. I almost think there's a little too much. And I think we might see some consolidation and we might see some people pulling back and maybe dropping some product lines going forward too.
Yeah.
Um,
Are you
I,
are you expecting M&As, or just mainly just sort of sunsetting stuff, or
I wouldn't be surprised for some M&As. If you look
mm,
through quarterly earning reports for some companies out there, you know that there's some camera-only companies, for example, that are
mm,
shopping themselves around.
yeah,
And I think they're looking for a big brother to help bring them into the vendor, so in the hardware
got
space.
it.
And I
Yeah,
do think you're going to find some smaller AI-focused technologies that might be acquired into some of these UC platforms for quick wins of AI use cases. So that's what
yeah,
I'm expecting.
I agree. So Craig, where can we find you? Where can people find you?
Well, so the name is unique, but you can find it at the collab-collective.com. This is my homepage where you can
Mm,
find articles, videos, and website. I'm also really active on social. It's at Craig Durr on LinkedIn, Craig Durr on Twitter, Craig Durr on YouTube, as well as Collab Collective on all those as well too. And I love hearing questions from people. I invite anyone who has a question to reach out, DM me on LinkedIn, and we'll see if we can pull it into some of the content we pull together.
awesome, man. And so Craig is one of my fellow journeyman souls. We've been, and even the producer of this show, I know you all guys know Brent Leary. Um, we are sort of a new group of analysts that are doing a lot of multimedia type content, live, on demand. It's fun. And to Craig's point before, it's what keeps the space fun. We can sit there and just write reports all day, and that's cool and they're informative. But how do you sort of make those reports come alive? And that's sort of what we've been embarking on, doing, videos and this sort of thing, live streaming and so forth. So it's been sort of a fun turn to see the analyst space sort of evolve
I love
right?
it. Yeah, and I really appreciate you introducing me to the Crunch audience. I've been watching what the content you guys have been putting out, really enjoying it. Good stuff.
Awesome.
So I'm excited to be part of it.
Correct. Thanks so much for joining me, man. This has been fun. And thanks, everyone.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
I appreciate everyone. Good meeting you. Dave, thank you so much. We'll get you on the next conference, right? Coming up probably right around the corner.
Indeed, indeed. See you on the road, my friend. Bye, everyone. That was fun.
Great show, guys. Yeah, that was good stuff.
Worked it? Okay, good. Throw me off where I'm live. Come on, man.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. Craig texted me. Oh, he's like, "Is this on demand live?" I'm like, "We're live, baby. We're gonna we don't play around. We don't play around here."
Craig, you just had a couple of little Wi-Fi glitches. Sometimes you would be talking, but you were frozen, but then it would catch up. So I think that might be what you were seeing on there.
Oh yeah, earlier on, yeah, I saw a couple of those earlier on. Yeah, that's fine. I think you're in the mountains, right? So.
Yeah, it's in the unit. I have the internet service provider coming over later on today to try and fix something. So I apologize for that. But
no, mostly the beginning. That's mostly the beginning. But you are, dude, awesome. This was amazing.
And I was actually recording locally. So what'll happen is you might even see it. Your local audio and video is being uploaded to the server. So even though during the live recording, the live stream, you might have had some glitches, that shouldn't have any glitches. So
the local recording, gotcha.
I've used StreamYard before. I started using Riverside a little bit myself.
Oh, cool.
How do you like it? I haven't used it in a long time.
Yeah, I've never used River.
Riverside, you know what I like about it? It's interesting is same thing you're doing. I don't know if StreamYard has this or not, but it uses AI to auto-generate some show notes. And I can also use it to create shorts in it automatically too. So I'm going to go into something I recorded and it will generate a quick short that I could use as a kind of a promo for something else.
Yeah,
StreamYard does that. They say it's in their beta, but it might actually, because you do the local recording, that allows it to do the generation of the shorts. Yeah. So it might be something that it comes out with. Their shorts are all right.
Yeah, Restream does it too, and I haven't tested it out yet, but they've been advertising it as well. So I think they're all sort of coalescing. It's sort of me too, to your point, Craig, earlier. I do it too.
Yeah.
I would the best so far AI video production or clip generator for me has been Opus Clips.
Oh, interesting.
Clips.
Okay. Yeah, Opus Clips is I've been using that for about 7 or 8 months, and you can tell the progression has gotten better. And it also it creates the clips, and it also give you like a score of 0 to 99, and then it has 4 categories of scoring. It'll tell you why it got the score and all that. So cool. StreamYard doesn't do any of that stuff yet. I don't know, but yeah,
I've got more subscriptions and stuff. I got being a new company. My wife's like, you got to quit buying toys and get income in, and that's what I got. Descript. I got a subscription to Descript, and I play with that for it. I've been trying to get more. I've done Premiere, Adobe Premiere Pro for a while. I'm not excellent at it, but I'm trying to do more because some editors I work with work in that as well too, and I want to be able to talk the same language.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's my
and
main
then,
goal too.
That's where I live as well too. That's where I live. It's
here's my problem. I learn a new feature. I go on YouTube and I learn it, and then I forget about it, and then I have to go back to YouTube again and find that feature to redo it again.
Yeah,
Whatever.
for me it's especially coming from the Zoe stuff and the conferences. I have some multi-camera feeds, and so I always
Yeah.
keep forgetting how to sync them so that the audio lines up. So I have to keep going back. Okay, that's how you do it. It's
It's quick. Once you figure it out,
every
it,
time.
it does
Yeah,
it really quick. It's like just a
it's
couple of clicks.
amazing. Yeah, it's so in sync. Yeah, absolutely.
And their new audio enhancement feature cleans up nicely some of that audio for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I like it. There's funny. There's Isotope plugin. It's called RX Pro, which from what I've read, I guess a lot of the the film industry uses the stuff. You know, because for dialogue, you know, to like, you know, take out like noise in the background and so forth. But like, yeah, this plugin works good. But the Premiere one works just fine. I mean, especially for the stuff that we do. I mean, I'm not trying to like quite a mouse fart, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually just about to put out a short that I did. It's longer than short. It's 2 minutes for the nice. That's why I was kind of did a plug on that.
Yeah.
I got this other service I'm experimenting with, and I'm considering doing a once a week news story blip. Just pick something and talk about it for 2 minutes, and then post it up. Get it process. We'll see if it works out. It's going to be my first. I'm going to probably post it later on today as my first one, and see what the feedback is on it.
Definitely, yeah. I'll check it out. Absolutely.
We'll see.
For some reason, StreamYard is taking forever to upload these things. Usually it's done by now, and all I'm seeing is all 3 of ours are uploading, and not even a percentage of what's left.
Really?
Don't close it out. Don't close it out.
Well,
can't we? We can end the call, but stay on StreamYard. Is that what it is, or what?
No, it should. Usually by the time I end the broadcast. Wait a minute.
It's in there, yeah.
This thing is saying that. You know what?